Hi, I'm Kelly from Jones Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute ring. I've put a list of everything you'll need in the description below. Why is that not focusing on that band? There we go. Quite a pretty band in this one. And I'd just like to say a quick thank you to all my patrons for making it possible for me to keep making all these videos. Thank you guys, I really appreciate you so much. I'll put all your names on the screen. Thank you. So to work out your band size, and this is a rough estimate, you can measure around your finger. So say that is 6. And then you've got to take into account the centrepiece is going to be about 1.5 centimetres. And then you can work out how long your weave needs to be. Again, it's all going to be very rough. I normally do about 4 or 5 centimetres of weave. Is that about right? So if I take 1.5 off there, that's about 4.5. So we'll roughly work out what it is you think it should be, and then we can put it around the mandrel and we can work it out in more detail a bit later on. So work out what your the length of your weave should be. So if I'm going to go for about a 4 centimetre, find the centre of your wires. So now I'm going to start 2 centimetres to the left. You just want your weave band to be central on those wires. So we'll start with 2 wraps around the bottom wire. So we go around the bottom 2, go around the bottom 3, around the bottom 2, around the bottom wire twice, so we've completely missed out the top wire. Then we take the wire up the back and we come over the top wire. Let's come up between the top 2, make it a bit easier. So we'll go around the top wire twice, come up between the middle 2, so we're going around the top 2, come up between the bottom 2, so we're going around the top 3, come up between the middle 2, so we're going around the top 2, that twice around the top wire. And that's our repeat. So we come around the bottom wire twice, around the bottom 2, around the bottom 3, 2, bottom wire twice, leaving out the top wire, up the back, come up between the top 2, around the top wire twice. You could do any weave here that you want. I recently released a written tutorial all about weaving, so you can replace this with one of those weaves if you like. So we go around the top 2, around the top 3, around the top 2, around the top wire twice, and repeat that for roughly the length of your band. Now when you're weaving, it's very important that you keep pressing your weave together. If you've got some nylon pliers, they're really handy for this. So push your weave together, and if you give it a flatten, it makes it look nice. So between every couple of repeats, press it together and give it a flatten. So I've done roughly 4 centimetres of that weave, and I've kept pushing it together. You can see how much smaller the weave is when you use the thinner weaving wire, you'll have a lot less repeats if you're using the slightly thicker one. So we need to cut that from the beginning. And we need our mandrel to shape the band around. Try and get your weave nice and central along your wires. So slide it along a bit if you need to. Make sure it's all pressed together before you bend it around your mandrel. So as I'm bringing my weave around the mandrel, I've parted my wires so that we can see how big the gap is in the middle there. And what I want is, if we pull the outer wires completely out, it just gets them out the way. So what we're going to do now is weave across the middle wires. So my outer wires are just going completely out for now, just to get them out the way. I'm going to weave across these two. So I'm going to pull these two out, just to get them out the way. Is that the right thing to do? So I'm just going to weave across the two inner wires. So I've gone over the bottom of those two, and we're just going to weave across those two. So go around both of them, come up between, go around the top wire, go around the bottom wire, and we'll just do that. This will repeat. We don't need many repeats, and keep pushing it down as you go. So I've got 4 repeats on that side, and then I'll part those 2 wires too. I'm going to cut the weaving wire, but I'm going to leave a little length on there, just in case I need to adjust the length of that weave. We go over to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing, so I'm going to do 4 repeats just across these middle 2 wires of that little weave. Push that down. And now looking at the front, so this can now come over and then take these wires out. So if we go back on the mandrel, we want it all to come together in the middle, but we want the wires to come up, kind of to be next to each other. Do you know what I mean? So adjust your wires until you have something like this. Make sure you've finished off your weave with a couple of wraps around the last wrap that you did, and we'll cut those wires. Press down your little cut ends. So then we're going to weave these 4 wires together, but we'll do a little bit of a weave across the middle too first. So wrap a few times around, looking at it side on, so I'm wrapping around the second wire. And we go around the 2 wires, so just around the middle 2 wires. Bring the wire up between those 2. We wrap around the top wire, around the bottom wire. So we're doing the weave that we did on the side there. So we're holding these middle 2 wires together. So I've done 4 repeats of that weave. Wiggle it down. And then we'll just do a little weave across all 4 wires to hold them together. Go around the bottom 2, come up in between, go around the middle 2, come up in between, we'll go around the top 2, come up between the bottom 2, go around the middle 2, wrap a few times around the second wire, and we'll attach the other side together the same. So when you've done that side, we'll just cut the middle wire, leave the longer length attached to the top there, and we can add some more weaving in a moment. So that's what we have so far. Our middle wires are joined, but we've still got quite a gap in the middle. Bend your middle wires in, your outer wires out a little. So position your stone centrally in that gap there. If yours is a pointy back, the pointy back will sit lovely in the hole in the middle. If you've got a flat back, it may be a little bit more tricky to keep in place there, but the pointy back sits lovely in that gap. That colour goes quite nice with the copper. So we'll remove the stone for now and we'll add a little bit more weave. So just going across those two middle wires, we'll go over the second wire to get us in place. So our weave is, we're going to wrap twice around the top wire. Let's go 3 times. We'll go 3 times around the top wire and then once around the 2 wires. I just wanted it to be 2 wraps. We'll just go twice around the top wire and then once around both wires. You can go 3 times if you want. So I'm going twice around the top wire and then once around both wires, and keep pushing it together. So how many repeats you will need depends on the size of your stone, your ring, the space in the middle. So what we'll do is we'll do a bit and then we can add or take repeats in a minute. Take this weave and grip it as far down as you can to those other wires there, and we're going to bend it over. So put your finger in there so that when you bend it over you don't misshape it all. So we bent it straight down over the front there. And then we take the weave over to this side. There's a little gap there where I gripped it with my pliers. We just need to push it along a bit. This then is going to scoop around the stone, so let's pop the stone in. Hold on a minute. Little monkey, third time lucky. Right, so I'm going to bring this weave around the stone and make sure your weave is really pressed together. So that is actually perfect length for the weave that I wanted, because I'm now going to post these wires through this gap here. Stone is trying to jump out already. Shall I let it out? Just while I sort out these wires. So make sure you've finished with a couple of wraps around one of your wires. And we'll cut that for now. So we're going to take this weave, we're going to pull it back a little bit and then bend to the end of the wires and take them through the gap there. That gap, do you know the one? So we're posting it through there. Oh, that's a bit tough. So I need to put my stone in. Oh, first time, and then wiggle that through. So the weave goes over the stone. Stones come back out. That's it. The weave comes over the stone. Make sure your weave is all pressed together. What I'm going to do is bend it over the front there. Shall I wrap it around those outer wires? I might wrap it around that outer wire. Make it a bit easier. I'll give it a bit more length. See if that helps. So when you know that your weave is definitely in the right place, I'll put the stone over there because I'm going to keep losing it. We can take these wires around that outer bare wire, and that holds that weave in place, and then we're done with those wires and we haven't got to worry about those wires then. We can do the same to the other side, where we're going to weave the middle wires and take it around the stone the other way. Check it with the stone in just in case it's moved. That's fine. So I'm just going to cut off those wires. Every time I pick up a tool, it's wrapped in weaving wire. Put that over there. That's it. So we just need to cut these wires off. I don't want them to be scratchy at the back, but I don't want too much wire going around this single wire. Then we'll weave the other one. So on this side now, on the middle two wires, we're going to do the same weave, and we're going to bend it over, and we're going to go around that way and attach on the other side. So then we've got our stone properly trapped in there before. So we want the 2 wraps on this top wire and then a wrap around both wires. So I've added repeats to that side. I'll cut that beginning wire off while I can get to it. I didn't actually measure the other side, so I don't know how long this weave needs to be. Wiggle right in there, bend it straight over the front there, and then we take it out to the side. So that's in, and then this weave scoops around. Make sure you pushed your weave together. That way. So I want this weave to go under that weave, and I don't fancy pulling it back and threading all those wires through because that's going to totally mess up the shape of everything. So what I'm going to do is add another wrap to that and cut that off, and then I'm going to cut these wires and I think that will be easier to push through with the shorter wires, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it through the gap, and I'm just going to wrap it around this outer wire there. It could probably be even shorter than that, you know. Then we just wiggle these wires through, making sure the stone is down. I keep pushing the stone up by pushing the spike underneath. So make sure your stone is in place, and make sure both of these lovely weaves come over the sides of the stone so they hold it there. Then we just need to secure those 2 wires around that outer wire there. I think I'm going to suggest that when you wrap this one around, you can just wrap around this outer wire, or whichever way it went, instead of pushing it through that gap there. I reckon that'll be fine. Keep checking on the position of the weave to make sure you haven't pulled it through too much. It's still holding the stone there. And then cut those wires so they finish. Whoop! Cut those wires so they finish at the front, so you won't get any scratchy bits at the back. press those ends around. So the next part is a bit more simple. We're just going to take these wires that are left now, we're going to bend them over the front and bring them around to follow the sides. So they'll come down, come around the sides, all of them. I just brought those forward like this. So we can see what I've got. And then I'm going to bend them over roughly the same height as the other wire. So this is going to hide all this other stuff that's going on. And with this one, Gracie's patiently waiting at the door for her dinner. I'm coming. So I've brought these two top wires down, bring these wires up, and you want them to scoop down and out and meet centrally, and then they're going to scoop back out. Take a short piece of weaving wire, about say 12 inches, maybe a bit less. Wrap 3 times around one of those wires, bring it round, and then I'm going to pop a little bead on and position it between the 2 wires, and then wrap around the other wire, pulling it tight so your bead's in place. And I'm going to wrap around the 2 wires a few times. And wrap around the bottom wire 3 times. So I'll cut this tail end and then I'll do the same to the other side. This wire is a little bit long, so I can use this same piece of wire. So I'll cut that off too. And I'll attach it and a bead to this side. So I've done the other side too. What I did do was, with my nylon pliers, is I pushed the bead into the gap because it was sticking out a bit and I want it tucked in there, holding them in place the best you can. We're going to fold them around the band. So make sure they're all nice and straight before you start, and then take it around the band, holding the front in place really firmly, and then check it hasn't moved. I'll do the same to this side, so holding it in place. And Gracie's snoring. Fold them over the band. So as it goes over the band, what you want to do is give it a squeeze so it's nice and tight and you haven't got any gaps. And do the same on this side as well. And then with these wires, I'm going to finish them off over the front. I don't like finishing ring wires off over the back because they tend to get a bit scratchy. So I'm just going to fold it over the front edge of the ring band and then press it over. This one is going to have to finish this side, otherwise the wires will cross at the back. You can cross them at the back if you want to. I'm just going to bring it over the band and cut it off. You can also put a curl on one of the wires if you want to. Lots of options, too much choice. So there we have it. I need to run and oxidise and I'll show you it. And there we have it, finished. I hope you managed to follow this tutorial okay. I didn't cause too much confusion. That's come out really nice. I'd love to see what you make. Come and tag me on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you are, wherever you share. Please mention me, please tag me. I'd love to see finished work. See you all soon. Bye.